Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. session of the 2022 Open Simulator Community Conference. In this session, we are pleased to introduce the presentation, Art, but... And our speaker is Kisma Reidling, Juliette, SurrealDreaming. Kisma is a painter and an art teacher and has taught using Zoom and now the metaverse. Please check the website found at conference.opensimulator.org for speaker bios, details of the sessions, and the full schedule of events. The session is being live streamed and recorded, so if you have questions or comments during the session, you may send tweets to @OpenSimCC with the hashtag #OSCC22. Welcome, everyone. Let's begin the session.
Thank you, Lear. Hi, everyone. Let me get my things going. Oh, my goodness. Or goddess. I like to say goddess. It seems life has been one big learning curve since the pandemic, doesn't it? Every time I think I've got it figured out, I turn a corner and the path changes and I'm off in a new direction. And that's exactly where I am again, off in a new direction. So I'm standing before you doing a bit of a 180 on you. And those of you who have heard my presentation these past two conferences know where I'm coming from and what I've been doing. So this might come as a bit of a surprise to you. Those of you meeting me today, well, welcome, and it's such a pleasure to meet you, and it's so wonderful to be here again. Today I am presenting a question. Art is art, but, and I am Kisma Reidling with the avatar name Juliette SurrealDreaming. Okay, so here we go. I am a painter in a physical reality located in Newport Beach, California, a non-virtual world in that dimension. I stand in my studio before a canvas on a wooden easel. In one hand, I hold a wooden palette that has splotches of different colored paint, wet paint. Hey, what the heck? Oops, wrong slide. That's for a different palette, isn't it? Sorry about that. That's better. In the other hand, I hold a brush of various shape and size with either wooden, plastic, or metal handle. Using my arm and hand, I dip my brush tip into a puddle of wet paint and I make strokes, dashes, scrubs, lines, color blocks, details, etc. across the substrate. Wet paint usually ends up on my hands and arms and clothing and sometimes drips off the canvas onto a painter's drop cloth under the easel and my feet. And it can take me weeks, months even, to finish a painting. I paint in layers and must let each layer dry. And of course, the end result must dry completely before I can fix hangers on the back of the canvas or frame the substrate and hang it on a wall in my studio, office, or home, or exhibit it in a show and hopefully sell it. This process for one painting really can take months, but I'm a painter, and that's a painter's life. We are slow, we are methodical, we paint not for others, but because it's who we are. I'm a painter who has shared some photos of her finished paintings in virtual worlds, and only since 2020. I'm a baby artist in avatar years, and I'm here to share with you how in just 2 years of time, I've had to perhaps come to a very surprising conclusion regarding my continued involvement as a painter in virtual worlds. In virtual worlds, I've come to realize that the artist who draws their inspiration from the world around, from what they see, hear, smell, touch, taste, and geolocations around the planet, a painter such as myself, does not hold a substantial position in this metaverse of ours. but rather it is the graphic artist, virtual photographer, digital artist, and now the new wordsmith who plays with AI generated images that are more important. The avatars who have become proficient at computer-driven art forms are embraced in virtual worlds as the quote unquote real artist. Yes, there are a few painters from the non-virtual world whose art has been accepted and who are celebrated as artists in virtual worlds, but they are mostly old avatars. But aren't we all real? I was, however, warmly received by a few dozen nice people in 2020, some of who claimed how wonderful it was to meet another real artist, meaning, a non-virtual one. I never realized there was a hidden message in their words, which took me 2 years to understand, or the politics attached to their claim. Of course, I've met lots of virtual artists, old-timer artists who have been quick to inform me that, puts on my storyteller persona, thousands of years ago, when the virtual world was first formed, there were lots of real-life artists in SL, for example, and all save a few had a mass exodus because of some misunderstanding over a new LL toss copyright on uploaded textures. Well, whatever, but I always felt there was a hidden message in their words, as if these folks were in their own kind way saying, so why don't you leave too? Well, okay, so this brings me to the next phase of my journey. About a 6-month cerebral journey I went on just this year, asking questions like, do non-virtual artists really have a place in virtual worlds? And again, I'm talking painters like myself here. What defines a real artist in virtual worlds? Aren't we all real? Should there be a solid division between virtual art and non-virtual art? They are different. Why isn't transparency proudly upheld by virtual artists regarding which type of art is being shown? Why say real life art? Isn't art art? Can virtual artists lose the shame of not being an artist in the non-virtual world? Is it inherently dangerous for a non-virtual painter to turn to a virtual world as a forum for their non-virtual art? What is or should be classified as virtual art, especially if the term real life is insisted upon applying by many virtual only artists? Because like it or not, and yes, we say art is art, but there is a difference between virtual and non-virtual art. These questions I attempted to discuss with several virtual artists claiming to be real life artists, but whose art I began to easily identify was created using computer apps or the new trend of AI generated image programs like Midjourney. And the extreme defense I met just trying to have a discussion on this topic was astounding. It was quite impossible to have a rational conversation with the virtual real life painter whose avatar has created a solely virtual, I am a real life artist persona and made a virtual art career for themselves. Perhaps they became threatened by the casual discussion topic, maybe afraid their real life claim would be exposed as fraud. Regardless, I'd say 99% of the folks I tried to dialogue with flat out refused to see any difference between wet paint and a computer screen. It is a tough topic. Fact or fiction? After meeting with such extreme defensiveness, which we know is always a truth in and of itself, I stepped back and pondered these two questions. What is virtual world art? I mean, really, what is it? Why does the virtual avatar artist need to add the term real life to their bios when outside of a virtual world, there's a great chance the person has never so much as picked up a pencil and doodled? Like it or not, there is a difference between what we the people do in non-virtual realities and what we the people do in virtual realities, fantasy or fact. Now, many of you were here in 2020 when I made my confession that I started off in SL role playing as the curator of an art gallery, even though I am a painter and non-virtual, which shocked everyone, but I don't know. I don't know why. I've always thought virtual reality is for the entertainment of the fantasy. Wouldn't you all agree? So I was having some fun being something I will never be in non-virtual reality. I wonder if now, since the pandemic, we're all trying to force virtual reality to be validated with a lose the fantasy, this is reality mindset. I must include myself in that, but I've been doing a lot of pondering on this. So regarding the virtual world art scene, I've come to perhaps an honorable conclusion. I present it to you now as my final statement. Virtual worlds are created for virtual avatars, and while we, the people, own and operate those virtual avatars and develop virtual realities and build and create objects in virtual worlds, and for the avatar whose sole persona is that of an artist who uses only digital apps, AI image generation programs, or those avatars who take virtual photos to tweak and manipulate in computer programs, and to all avatars who have groomed their fantasy, or rather virtual reality career and reputation as an artist avatar who creates virtual art under the labels of real life artist, real life art. I invite us to redefine these claims just a tiny bit. Let us all remember that virtual worlds are, to some people, their real life, and some people do spend all their time in virtual worlds in fantasy, role play, or a non-virtual world simulation of life, which is fine. I say to my virtual art peers, I celebrate your artist avatar and your virtual life as an artist, how you have painstakingly developed it. But in the effort to redefine unneeded labels, I say virtual art is virtual art. Or I'm sorry, let me say that again. Virtual art is art. No, that wasn't a Freudian slip. Non-virtual art is an art. Both forms of art are valid, and I honor both forms, but please let no one mislead art patrons. Art is art is art, but in a world where fake news has become the norm, let's regain some truthful integrity in virtual worlds. I urge virtual artists to be proud of their digital virtual art. Claim it, show it off. Don't make false claims of real life. Always be transparent. This is, after all, your art domain, and thank you for your virtual creativity. And hey, non-virtual artists, that includes me too. We've got the non-virtual world. Why do we need to infringe in another dimension by bringing our non-virtual art into it? If we want to be a virtual artist, then we need to start making virtual art. In this vein of unity, can we all just drop the extreme competitive need to add the term real life to our bios? I never did. Let's all just be artists who create art. Thank you very much. And I would like to ask Art Blue, who stole my butt, if he has anything he would like to add to this.
I'm the butt stealer, okay. This we will discuss later. I'm sorry for you. You have a long way to go to become a machine, I would say.
I'm not, I'm real. You're the AI. So right here, what you see is a dichotomy. Art Blue, who's very techno, very, very AI driven, and me, who does everything in non-virtual realities and then brings it all into virtual realities and then goes, wait, it doesn't belong in virtual realities. And so stepping into that place of knowing that really I'm in a virtual world, I need to get with the program and become a virtual artist if I want to be taken seriously as an artist in virtual worlds. Virtual life is not fantasy. I totally agree, but I do enjoy the fantasy of being an gallery owner and role playing as a curator, inviting artists to come show in the gallery. So yeah, that's a fantasy for me, and I proudly claim it. I always have. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Any more questions? I just want everybody to know that with these wonderful new programs of the AI image generation apps, which I'm exploring and experimenting with, that there's all kinds of forums for us to experiment and explore. Let's see, photography was going to kill art. It didn't, but it changed it. Virtual is going to change art. It hasn't, but it changed it. Of course, yeah. Lisa asks, do you find 2048 by 2048 not good enough for sharing your art? No, pixels, it really is okay. Resolution is fine. You don't get the same depth. When you photograph a canvas, it goes really flat in any photography. Even, I mean, look at photos of the great masters. In a book, their art is really flat. Stand in front of it in a museum and you go into it. So it doesn't translate as well. Yeah. But you can get pretty high resolution, but 2048, yeah, it does put a ceiling on it. Someone else, it's question from Marcus. One of the newer AI image generation models is stable diffusion. They've had some complaints from artists about their works being included. Yeah, that's a thing as an artist. Once you put it on the internet, if you upload any of your real life art textures onto any aspect of the internet, it's going to get borrowed. I'm not going to say stolen. It's going to get borrowed because there's this whole genre called transformational art where we take pre-existing art and we absorb it into a new art form and change it. And the main factor is, though, I think 90 or 95% of it needs to be new. So a person shouldn't be able to look at a piece of transformational art and identify, oh, that's from Monet's, blah, blah. It should be absorbed in as part of becoming part of a new art form. I might be missing questions. I don't know. Did that answer your question, Marcus? Art can answer it too. Art, did you want to answer it?
Yes, I'm just typing it, so you have it here.
Thanks, Nix, for that. Yes, the deviant art creators, they have lots of issues with people stealing their art. In fact, when I came in to the art world in virtual reality and started to see art, I was able to identify stolen art and artists who were passing off art from Google and from other formats, from other social networks as their own. And that's a sad thing. That's why I bring in the urge for us all to be transparent. Be transparent, with your art. If it's not something you created in non-virtual reality, but you needed a computer, then own it, say it, be proud of it. Saying real life doesn't make anything different because we all are real life.
That's a great ending there, Juliette. And what a wonderful session. We want to thank you for it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yes. And you too, Art. Thank you. As a reminder to our audience, You will want to check out the conference.opensimulator.org to see what is coming up on the conference schedule. You won't want to miss our next session, which is at 10 a.m. in the keynote region, and it is entitled Conceptualizing Immersive Music and Dolby. Also, we encourage you to visit the OSCC22 Poster Expo in the OSCC Expo 3 region. And Juliette and Art's booth is booth 7 to find accompanying information on presentations and explore the hypergrid resources in OSCC Expo 2 region, along with our sponsor and crowdfunder booths located throughout all of the OSCC Expo regions. Thank you again, and to our speakers and to the audience.